So, hi everybody, welcome back to the One Shopify Podcast. I'm Aashika, and today we are unpacking subscriptions. Not as a pricing model, not as a growth hack, but as an infrastructure. Because when subscriptions are done right, they don't just stabilize revenue, they align product, operations, partnership, and trust is into the one of the compounding system. And my guest today lives at the intersection. Sweta is the co-founder of Recurpay, a platform powering subscription journeys for Shopify brands across categories from coffee to cars and across markets that don't behave the same. So, let me tell a few words before we jump to the podcast. So, she's worked deep in product orgs, migration, UX, CRM, and ecosystem partnership, which means she's seen the subscriptions break and where they scale quietly, sustainably. So, today's conversation is not going to be a tactical noise, it's how subscription business actually hold together. So, Sweta, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ashika. I'm really happy to be here, long pending, and finally we are getting it done this time. I think you have set the context really well. I'm super happy to be here and helping people be the best here.
Right, right. You are a positive vibe here.
Thank you.
Yeah, start. So, Sweta, I can see a lot of founders, still treat subscription like a feature you add to a revenue platform. But from your experience, subscriptions behave more like infrastructure once you lay it. Everything else root through it. So, what does a founder misunderstand about subscription when they see them as a monetization lever instead of a system that rewires operation, marketing, and customer relationships?
I think I will talk about my experience. So when we started back 6 years, we have been 6 years in the ecosystem, and when we started talking to the founders, so it was always a mix of people who have started the business or who is looking to start the subscription ecosystem, right?
Mhm.
So in the early days, people were more like thinking subscription as a band-aid to add an additional revenue channel, but and it was not. It's not considered to be a feature right now. I mean, if you take subscription, it's more like a foundation because when you make a subscription live on your platform, it touches all the different departments, like from inventory planning to your support team to the CRM team, the agency or the partner who is working towards making this subscription super on the website, how it will look like. And the most important part of this journey is your customers who's going to be actually using this on their daily life, right?
Mhm.
So when founders come and say that let's start subscription, our first question that we ask is what is the problem that you are trying to solve with subscription? So this basically gives us an insight of are they looking to have a subscription from a loyalty point of view, because the most answers, common answers that we get is we already have a few bunch of customers and we want to move them a more seamless flow where order debit can happen seamlessly. But we do not only cater to loyalty, but it should be more like a subscription should work when the brand, the agency, and everyone, all the kind of tools can sync together. Because a basic example I'll tell you, if a coffee brand is giving a subscription pack for 30 days, but the consumption frequency is about 45 days, the subscription will fail. Not today, not let's say 30 days, 60 days, but somewhere in the journey, like third cycle or the fourth cycle, it will fail. So it's not about a fancy widget that you add on your website, but it's more about what is the frequency, what's the timing like, and everything is also backed by data. So whenever any new brand comes with subscription, they either have a data of how their brand would do based on the industry they are serving, be it skincare, coffee brand, or let's say food and beverage, anything into food and beverage, or even pet brand. So subscription work when the brand's rhythm matches with the customer's rhythm. So that's the idea behind it.
So recurring revenue looks like an attractive thing on the dashboard, but not every founder or not every brand is structurally ready for it. if I'm not wrong. So when you evaluate a merchant, especially during the onboarding or migration, what signals tell you this brand is actually ready for subscription and this brand is not?
Great question. So, when in fact, till now, when the onboarding team or the migration team goes on call, um, it's a similar approach. What is the problem that you're trying to solve, right? And how is our app gonna solve it? So, before we do any such migrations, we first try to understand our customer's pain point and how we can be an important factor in solving that problem. So, be it from the future, from the customer portal side, or how the widget would look like, what all information has to be added. All those metrics are very important. So when it comes to onboarding a customer, we'll never see what are the numbers they have already, because we always have a mix of new customers who are starting the business and a customer who has already crossed $1 million already in the subscription journey, right? So it's about how well the founders or the team know the in and out of subscriptions that they're getting into, and they know how well the inventory management, anything and everything from marketing to ops can be taken care of. So the understanding is when you do on the first call, and then you help them simplify it using the product that they are already using and with us as well.
Oh, okay. So Recurpay tells openly about the migration, and that's completely rare because migrations expose everything, bad data, broken flows, and misaligned partners and everything. So from your vantage point, what do migrations reveal about a brand's internal maturity, and what separates migration that quietly unlock growth from migrations that introduce long-term fragility and everything?
I think we talk about migration because all the apps in the ecosystem we have worked with, because it's been 6 years, so we have seen all the apps, and we have personally loved the way they have built from a, because every app's vision is very different. So
Yes.
for us, when we do migration, or when we migrate from one app to another, or one platform to Shopify, the idea is the migration will expose a lot of data, but you also get to know how deep you can go and solve those problems. So in the initial call itself, we try to go deeper. Be it the usually it's the partner ecosystem that helps us understand what the migration problems are. So the agency partners is always involved. We ourselves have made a migration system which is very simplified. So the fastest migration we do is within 24 hours of you giving us a data.
Mhm.
So when we get any migrations from any platform or app, the idea is to make sure that the merchant, the agency, the old platform, and Recurpay as a platform is communicating with each other. So there is no gap while migrating this current data to this new platform. Because if we migrate fresh, the idea is to make sure that from here onwards, the process is very simplified and there is less human intervention required. Similarly, if anyone wants to migrate from to other platforms from us also, we have kept it very simplified. So you take a simple approach. Probably I can give you on a next call somewhere the demo of how things work there. So yeah, it's a very simple thing. It's just that the systems, all the systems that are involved in migration should be speaking to each other to make it more simplified. Data is a good, bad. It's a mix of everything. So yeah, you just balance it out the best you can.
Okay, okay. So you have worked hands-on wireframing and UX research and everything. So subscriptions are uniquely prone to UX. The depth, too many rules, too many choices, too much, fine print and everything. So where do the most subscription experience collapse cognitively for users, and how do you design subscription UX that scales choice?
I think when it comes to subscription, UX usually breaks when the customer feels confused or trapped in the first interaction itself. So usually every brand have subscriptions placed on the PDP pages or the collection pages. So the three biggest drop-offs that we also mention whenever we are doing any, let's say, any onboarding call, any migration call, anyone who's trying to explore Recurpay. The three things that we clearly mention is, do not have too many options. That means do not have too many frequencies, because let's say, for example, it's a human psychology that you go to a platform. If you see too many, let's say, discounts, or let's say too many frequencies, you start calculating the days behind it, the X and Y Z behind it, right? So what happens during that time is you start getting confused, and the chances of drop-offs are very high. So we usually recommend not to have more than 3 to 4 frequencies based on the industry type. So when it comes to coffee, the highest, the more common plans is either weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. And a few cases there are 45 days and 65 days, but we try and recommend them to have minimum 3 to 4, not beyond that.
Yeah.
That's one. Second part is keep it as simple as possible. The terms that you use on your subscription widget or your subscription page should be very simple, because we should understand that when any customer comes to your platform, they need to understand what is happening, what are they getting into, and the simplest words that you use, it's easy for them to also take faster decision. The more complex and difficult words you use, it might sound fancy, look very cool, but might not entertain all kind of merchants, because based on your target audience you will define certain kind of words which actually suits them and helps them take decision faster. So that is very important. So use simple words, because your PDP page will actually have you will have exactly one PDF page, but you'll have multiple kind of people walking into that PDF page. So you cannot customize language for all of them. There are platforms who does that based on personalized approach, but to keep it as minimal, keep it as simple as possible. The third point is there should be transparency in what they are getting into. They should know that if they are getting into subscriptions, will they be able to cancel? Will they be able to swap? All those should be communicated to them, and what are the benefits they are getting, everything and anything, the minimal but the best way possible that can help them take faster decision. So that's there. And do not have too many content. The one basic example that we also add is, make sure you add a manage subscription tab somewhere in the navigation bar, because a subscriber will usually come to your website, click on that and manage their subscription. So that's the most simplest and easiest way to get your customers, make them keep as calm as possible with your platform.
So we're clearly in a phase where control is shifting towards the subscriber pay, pass, skip, swap, and delay and everything. So from a product and economic standpoint, what does giving up a paradoxically improve retention, and where does the line where flexibility stops serving the business?
I think in today's phase, the customer wants to know everything, and giving the control to the customer makes your business be more calmer. And if they have an option to, let's say, skip or delay, they won't be panic and they won't cancel a subscription, right? Similarly, if they have an option to just pause it because they are traveling, right? So all these options give them more flexibility and reduces your trust with the client, with your end customer. So that's very important. But in a simple line, I would say flexibility should help customers stay, but sometimes it also lets the customer exploit your system. So there's a very thin line which you have to make sure you balance it out, so that your customers are not able to exploit you, but at the same time you're also able to help them build a better trust system with them. So all this system, all things also come back to a very major point, which is the data. The data speaks a lot for you. So always make sure, if you're starting a new business, you should always have at least a 30 to 60 day of data to act upon it and take on next steps. But if you're already in business, you will always have data. Speaking with your partners or ecosystem players helps you build better system for your end consumer. So that's something we say, giving flexibility is good, but uh, play in a way that you also give flexibility, but also let not the end consumer exploit your end merchant also. So it's a balance that you have to maintain.
Okay. So we can see the discount heavy retention feels incredibly brittle. You retain revenue and not trust. But when you analyze the churn across subscription brands, what are the non-obvious reasons customers leave? The ones with no dashboards directly labeled as, churn drivers.
Uh, I think this was something where people earlier, people used to be focusing more on discounts. Nowadays, people have realized that uh, churn is not only about discounts, but there are real reasons, like softer reasons, very small softer reasons. When we work with our ecosystem partners, they help us pull out a lot of data. So a lot of time, a lot of cancellations of the product happens because of there is too much in the stock.
Mhm.
Then maybe when it comes to anything like a skincare brand, people actually have forgotten the why they are using that specific skincare in their morning or a evening routine, right? Then there is no personalized approach. For example, if Ashika and likes coffee, but Ashika consumption rate is different. She can, let's say, she can consume a pack by 30 days, but say so on a similar lines, the similar pack will be consumed by Shweta in 20 days.
Mhm.
So you should always make sure that you also understand data, understand what works best with your end consumers, and then try to understand customize a lot of things around it. So again, coming back to data, that is what works most. And the fourth most important thing is, we always see that customers get to know about sorry merchants get to know about churn, and then the communication starts. So you should actually have a system which actually tells you when the churn is going to happen. So either you have a system like that, or you have someone who actually understands your customers, like an account manager, someone who speaks to them on a daily basis and try to customize their subscription. So like within our system we have a option where, if let's say for the customer has taken a monthly cycle, but after a consumption of like 2 months they decide to move to a 15-day cycle.
Mhm.
So within the system they have an option, they can change it on their own from the customer point of view. But a lot of time customers reach out directly to the brands and they ask the brands to do it. So both way, it's a simplified approach and lets your customer also build trust with the merchant, which is very important when it comes to these kind of app subscriptions specifically.
Okay. So agents, they shape this implementation reality, and yet they are not excluded. I mean, they are often excluded from the product feedback loops. And what do you think about agencies, not as resellers or implementers, but as an extensions of subscriptions product itself? And how should platforms, structure agency programs to avoid all the misaligned incentives?
I believe, from coming from a agency background myself, to becoming someone who works with agency partners, I believe the people who are working on the agency side work very closely with the merchant, and they work with the merchant day in and day out. So even if the merchant has a bad day, they know the merchant is having a bad day because of XYZ reasons. So I believe, we need to see things a bit differently, because agencies play a very important role in any app partner's life. So we need to treat agency partners like a product collaborators, not just an implement partners. Like this means like involve them early, let them give them the beta access, which we always do. We always give our partners beta access for certain features that they can explore, play around with. We also give them the tech access, so they can build from scratch using the base as Recurpay, which is one of the thing that we do in Build a Box with Recurpay. And ask them for feedback after shipping the product. So we have partners who give us feedbacks regularly, because they know that how important this product is for us. And for us, they are very important because they give us actual feedback which they are facing in real life, or the merchant is facing in real life, right? So we and the third and important and the fourth important part is reward quality over quantity. I believe people see that agency should be treated like this, just revenue, but agencies are way beyond just the revenue benefits. You should actually get to know, you will actually get to know more insights about your own product than yourself, because you have been in product and they are working with the merchant who might be lashing your product also, but they know how to work with both the kind of angles, explain exactly how the product works. So you have to give them the opportunity to be as a collaborative partner rather than just being an implementation partner. And once they become a co-builders, you will actually see that the impact is compounding, because you will be able to solve bigger problems together and your vision remains the same. So that really makes a lot of difference when we work with our partners right now.
So we can see the ecosystem fail quietly when everyone optimized different, success metrics. If you could standardize a small set of KPI across subscription platforms, agencies, and merchants, which metric actually reflect ecosystem health and, instead of the surface growth, what is the KPI that you would recommend?
Uh, when you are working, when different players are working towards one common goal, that is the merchant should be successful, the KPIs remain same. But when they are working for themselves only, it becomes a chaos when it comes to KPI. So to just standardize a few format when it comes involving subscription to picture, I can talk about that. What is the ratio of skip to cancel? So if people skip more than they cancel, that means your UX is working really well, right? Then you have modification rate. So let's say when you go on the customer portal, how comfortable are your customers actually in your system
Mm.
the changes. Similarly, it comes to merchant as well, because merchant also has a platform where they can change the customers' details based on the request that they receive from the customer, right? On both the ways, it's important to know how easy it is for them to do or play around with the system. Then the third part would be retention without discounts, the one that you mentioned above, because healthy system do not need any bribing to be done. So that's one. And what I also feel is when if agencies, tools, and brands, tools like us and brands align together, I think it's a very smoother growth for everyone, because everyone knows that the common KPIs they have to do is this, and everyone works towards making sure that this doesn't go below a certain ratio. So I think that composition, these three other things I would think about. And also one more thing is, what is your repeat accuracy, which is did the order arrive when the customer actually needed it, or before and after? So these are a few metrics that the top of my head I have right now.
So Shopify is a moving platform. APIs evolve, primitive shift, merchant behavior changes, and everything happens overnight. So from a product leadership lens, how do you decide when to wait on the platform evolution and when to build a customer abstraction and everything? What does the healthy co-building with Shopify look like from your lens?
I think Shopify is a great example for us because the way they have built, this does not answer your question, but the way they have built the ecosystem really gives a lot of insight of how things has to be built. So Shopify evolves fast, which is the best thing in the ecosystem that we are working with. When it comes to healthy code building, I think knowing when to wait and when to build is very important for us. When we know that Shopify, there are few areas that Shopify handles, which is the checkout part, the payments part, or anything and everything which is on the Shopify end, right? But when it comes to the merchant who's going to be using us and going more deeper on the subscription grounds, I think the flexibility of how easily they as a merchant can use it and their customer can use it seamlessly. And flexibility, simple common words that we make sure that we are intact with. Second part is the UX flows, like we explained earlier also, uh, of how each customer comes into the funnel, what is the flow like, where can things break. But I think Yeah, so that's one. And the third part is analytics of the behavior journey of the merchant as well as the customer. So we know the customer's behavior. If we can give that input to the custom to the merchant and help improve a journey, so that is important. So and then the fourth important part is partner integrations, because our goal is to stay adaptable, so merchants don't feel locked in, and partners can easily co-create confidently. So Shopify grows at its pace. Shopify gives a room where we can grow at our pace and we can flourish and work things on the subscription ecosystem more deeper and better day by day. So I think that's very important.
So you've worked across emerging and global markets and everything. So where trust payments and logistics, behave very differently. And how should subscription design adopt across the geographies without, fragmenting the core system? And what mistakes do global first brands make when assuming subscription behavior is universal?
Um, the top example I have is from our example ourselves. So every market is very different. So when we started back 6 years back with subscription in India, so in India, trust and COD matters the most, right? Similarly, when it comes to US, fast logistics matters the most. And in few places, there is retries and reminders that matters, right? So the core is still should remain or stay consistent, but we only need to adjust a few things around it, like in few places payment methods could be different. The retry logics could be different in different countries based on their country rules. Then there are different kind of type of bundles that people should be giving or can be giving. Then you have the way you communicate, because sometimes in India the communication style is very different. You yourself would have experience than what you experience in the other markets, international markets. So the mistake that global brands do is every customer is same, the behavior will remain same, and especially when it comes to a homegrown brand. So you actually think that okay, if people behave in India in a certain way, international also they have a certain way. So when we launched, I think a lot of learnings we got from India, which we improvised when we went on the international waters. And yeah, I think you always have to first do your a good research of how each market works, and based on the you do not have to change the product, but maybe few regulations could be different at different locations. So you have to make sure that you keep that in mind so that you do not take a hit later. So I think that was one of the things that we really worked on when we launched in international markets within the 7 months of launching in the Indian market. So we know how the difference was, and it was easy for us to manage on both the kind of people.
Okay. So looking ahead, AI-driven intervals, predictive everything, and in future, what role should platforms like Recurpay play, infrastructure, intelligence layer, and what should founders start unlearning now to be adoptable later?
I think the future is simple. Subscription will adjust to the customer, not the other way. But for the customer who's subscribing on the brand's website, the experience still feels very basic today. Most subscriptions look the same intervals, same reminders, same updates. In fact, you will see a lot of content, same, there's no difference in the content. So there is no personalization that we see in the market right now. But with AI, I think this will completely change, because it will actually help you understand how customers actually use your product, when they're likely to run out because of the past data that you would have given them from the system, from the Shopify backend. What do they love, or what do they prefer? What kind of bundles they prefer? And what actions they might want to take, even before or after they think about it. So with the AI, I think these things are going to be great. When it comes to platform like Recopay, I think um, adopting deeply on the side which help brands reduce churn and increase revenue. Simply because the subscription will finally feel designed for the person and not for the system. Um, right now, brands are doing it in in a form that one size fits all subscription setup, which becomes a bit difficult. And the standard market, and that's a standard that the entire market offers right now, which we have also seen. But in the future, AI will make this personalization based on person's choice, and basic. It'll be a basic expectation and not like a luxury thing for anyone to have that. So in the future, everyone wins only if the customer wins first. So you will have to think, or the AI will obviously think from the customer's lens. So if the customer gets smart, effortless experience and puts effortless experience, I think the brand grows and the subscription platform will grow automatically on that. So that's where the market is heading. I think AI is adding really well, and we also are implementing AI on a platform, so we see a lot of changes. And for us, when after implementing AI before, also it's like people can actually go live within like the first 5 minutes of installing the app. So AI is really doing a lot of things for the brands as well as the end consumers. So yeah, that's something that I would say it's going to happen.
Yes. So this we have come to the end of the pod, and this conversation reinforces something important, that subscriptions, don't scale because of clever pricing. They scale because of clarity, coordination, and care. So yeah, Shweta, this was such a generous, grounded, and deep operator level. So thank you for being substance to the space that often settles for shortcuts and everything. So yeah, to everyone listening, if you're building subscriptions, zoom out. Don't just optimize flows or architect and everything. Build trust. So yeah, I'm Ashika, and this was One Shopify Podcast. See you next time on the next call. Thank you.